lot of soul.
This is Bass Talk Live. Your host, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pangrack. BTL is brought to you by Lowrance, Lose, Strike King Lures, Bass Cat Boats, Ducket Fishing, Spro, APCO, Big Bite Baits, Sunline, and TH Marine. BTL coming at you. Good Thursday, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where Matt and I are going to talk bass fishing or anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, a good show today. I've been working on this show for a while.
Multiple guests.
Two guys.
None of whom are professional bass anglers, but both of whom will be very educational and informative.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show today. I know it was TBA on the website, but folks, I'm telling you, going to be pretty cool. We have a fan, a BTL fan. Ralph Young is going to be live from Lake Hartwell.
With the best internet connection we've ever had on BTL.
Keep your fingers crossed.
I mean, this thing is pristine. It looks like he's in a studio. I'm watching him right now.
Yeah, keep your fingers crossed on that. So we're going to go live to Ralph on the water, and he's going to give us a report on day two, and the guys that were supposed to catch him, for the most part, caught him.
We're talking about the second Eastern Open of the 2020 Bassmaster season. Now, we've got two Centrals in the books. This is the second Eastern in the books. There are 8 total tournaments.
Yeah.
The focus, obviously, is on the tournament. Cody Honor had 20 pounds, 4 ounces, including a 6 and a 5. Absolutely smashed him. 20 pounds, 4 ounces in September on Hartwell. Seems like
incredible.
A lot of schooling fish are playing, but there's a term that you like to use, and our eyes are on, you got the top 4 in the Centrals, top 4 in the Easterns, top 4 overall, which is really what I'm interested in this tournament too. The guys who are in it, who gave up other tours to fish all 8 of these things. And the term, is it nut cutting time yet?
Yeah.
You're halfway through the season after this one, and you're kind of seeing, hey, are you going to be in the open purgatory for another year, or are you going to make a run in the Final 4?
Yeah.
There's one house that got really pissed off after Rayburn. Like, just mad. Like, I would not have wanted to be in that house after Rayburn. That's the Scott Martin house.
Yeah.
Wheelhouse tournaments. Andrew Upshaw grew up on Rayburn. Todd Castledine, one of the best ever on Rayburn. Scott Martin fishing his strengths, and Bradley Hallman, massive confidence on Rayburn. And I don't think any of them cashed a check on Rayburn.
Not good.
Listen to this after day 1. These guys, 4 guys rooted together. Scott Martin, 3rd place. Andrew Upshaw, 11th place. Todd Castledine, 30th place. Brad Hallman, 33rd place. 4 of the checks for the Scott Martin, Team Scott Martin Challenge House. So that's why they're in the Team Scott Martin Challenge House. They bounce back and catch them.
Yeah, and they needed to.
Absolutely.
They really needed to.
Tough. I mean, a lot of limits weighed in, typical Hartwell stuff. 10 pounds basically gets you a top 50, but there were a lot of those 7 to 9 pound limits.
Yeah.
Of those spotted bass.
Yeah, 20 pounds in the fall.
Yes, man.
That's too big largemouth, right?
That's big league.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. And then right around the top of the hour, a very special guest. This is not the guy that I was trying to get on. I was trying to get a couple of guys. But I actually had somebody reach out to me that listens to the show via iTunes, who is a television executive for a number of stations in the state of Texas. All right, Matthew? Not just one.
I'm following.
But many.
He's shedding some light on the numbers war.
This is going to be interesting. He is a pretty good expert at the Nielsen Ratings and ComScore, and he is going to give us a very elementary education on what all these ratings and rankings and all this stuff means.
Between MLFLW and BASS.
Well, not just that, but in general.
Okay, if
Yeah.
we're not on the show to generally talk about TV ratings, let's be honest. We know why we have them on.
I know, but you have to understand what the ratings mean to begin with before you can comprehend what the numbers mean.
Right, but the only reason we're having them on is because there happens to be a ratings battle
No, you're right.
between the two
You're
organizations.
Right. And this guy has no affiliation with anybody in the fishing industry.
No.
Nothing. Zero.
Impartial.
Yes.
Impartial.
Whatever.
Neutral. Let's just go with neutral.
I like that. So his name is John Kelbe. No relation to Rob Kelbe, the longtime angler from Arkansas. So looking forward to having John on at the top of the hour. All right, Matt, real quick. I got an interesting email yesterday. And it's from a watcher, a listener, a downloader. Guy's name is Nate Coy.
Okay.
Says, was listening to yesterday's episode on the way to work this morning. I was intrigued by your nitrous experience. Talking about the dentist.
The happy gas.
Yeah. It says, there are only two big players in the dental mask industry, with my company, Porter Instrument, being the top dog at disposable mask.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, he says, do you happen to know the name of the mask, our top disposal mask product line called Silhouette? All right. Since COVID, there's been a massive spike in sales, blah, 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 blah. This is the cool part. It says, I would be interested in the name of your dental office. Maybe I can pull some strings and get them a few masks to tie them over until they can get their supply.
You're talking about a specific mask that
Here's
is used
all right.
with
Here's the mask. All right, and people didn't believe me what I was talking about. That's that funky looking mask that the nitrous comes through.
Okay,
It's-
folks.
All right, now.
Wow.
All right, and it looks kind of like a heart.
I doubt. Sure, yeah, heart. Let's go with heart.
All right, but see how it's wrinkled up on the right side?
I certainly do. Yeah,
I had it scrunched up in my glove compartment.
Missing out on a great visual here if you're listening on iTunes, folks.
But
or Google Play.
It kind of looks like a heart
Yeah.
with a couple of valves, and then.
No, bad deal.
But see, and then you put it on like, well, see,
This
it
is
doesn't work.
no
See,
longer
right-
family show.
Right here, right there, Matthew. You see, but it wouldn't fit because it was all crinkled up. So anyway, man, I greatly appreciate Nate trying to help out my dentist. How about that, Matthew?
Oh my God, looks exactly like a heart. You're right, Mark. To put the dang mask down.
Does it not look like a heart with? Okay. Anyway, is that not cool though? The dude wanted to help out my dentist.
I wonder who selected the flesh-colored pink for the mask color there, Mark.
know. Smells good. You want to smell it?
No, I'll pass on that one.
It smells real good. Smells like nitrous.
I'll
Want to smell it? Come on.
No. We need to go to Ralph immediately.
Is that not cool though? The dude is a result of this show trying to help out my dentist.
Yep, that is.
But
a
fortunately
fantastic
enough,
segment.
they had their stock, their new stock for these masks was supposed to be delivered
Keep flopping that
today.
thing around over there, Mark.
All right, and then after break, we're going to go to Ralph. But I got another email.
Okay.
All right, and this one was, "Hey Mark, my name is Hunter, and my dad is the guy that's going to be on your show today talking about Hartwell. Tell him I said don't give up any holes.
No juice.
Don't give up the juice."
Ralph's laughing. We
He's
see him
cracking
in
up.
the queue down there. Ralph has a lot of open water behind him. I do that too, Ralph. When I log in from tournament practice, I either make sure the ramp is behind me or open water behind me.
Now, the feedback from the Arkansas video that you're putting together right now, the feedback is, I would say the vast majority of people are saying, don't give up the juice, Matthew.
Well, I'm putting the video out, but I have found a creative way to not give up the juice.
I like it. I like it. So people are concerned that your spot was going to be...
I have it over halfway done. You've seen some of the highlights that I was working on before the show. Scale of 1 to 10. It's kind of like just head shakingly like, I can't believe that happened, isn't it?
Folks, there was a first pre-show statement by Matt. I think it's the first time he's ever said this in all the years that I've known him, that luck actually played a factor. Now, we did both come to the conclusion, of which I agree with, that luck is earned.
Basically what happened was I had no fish at 11:40. I went back to the spot that I thought I was going to catch all my fish on, and I got my trolling motor handle, the cable handle, caught underneath the Ultrex foot pedal, right? So I'd made a cast. I hadn't cranked at all. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm going to have to edit it a little bit because I'm upset that I can't push my foot pedal down because it
Yeah.
won't let me spot lock.
Yeah.
So I am not cranking. I literally just reach down to move the cable away from the foot pedal.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the fish eats my floating crankbait. And it's my first keep. And then I proceed to catch him on like the next 8 casts.
Luck. Now, I'm not saying luck's not earned, but dude, that's luck. Agreed or disagree?
That was a very fortunate bite, yes.
That would be luck.
Yeah, that
But
was a lucky bite.
luck is earned.
The other
Luck is
4,
earned.
pure skill.
Hey, man, we got to find a place here in Oklahoma that you can go punch grass.
Yeah, there's a couple, I'm sure.
I think there's some down in
You got
southeast Oklahoma.
100% you can punch on what's the name of that? It's the name of a dude next to where the Army base is.
Army base.
Yeah, where's the Latonka? Elmer Thomas. You can 100% punch on Elmer Thomas. I actually, Brad Hallman, did a video of a day of him punching on Elmer Thomas.
Really?
Where he caught them.
Did you watch it? Did you watch the whole thing?
100% I watched. Well, I filmed it and edited it.
Oh, I didn't know
So yes,
that.
it's 30
I'm
minutes
sorry.
long.
I apologize.
But part of the reason that I caught some on Raybird was I was noticing there were some edges with holes underneath, which was what Hallman got very excited with on Elmer Thomas when he came upon such a stretch.
All right.
Now that was milfoil. Because milfoil lays over in your hand. Hydrilla is crispy. I also learned that from the video with Brad Hallman. If you're not sure what
Crispy.
it is, pull the strand up, lay it in your hand. If the little leaves stick out,
Crispy.
hydrilla. If the leaves lay over in your hand and it's softer,
Yeah.
milfoil.
Dude, I don't care. Bottom line is you're getting it done. You're getting it done. And,
All right.
Hopefully it will continue this weekend at Texoma. All right, we're going to take a break, come back with some live coverage with Ralph Young. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The ultimate fishing system starts with Lowrance HDS Live. The best fish finding tools, from chirp sonar and fish reveal to side scan and down scan imaging, and complete touchscreen control from your trolling motor to your big motor.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
Kevin, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm just filling in for Billy.
I need a 660 shad crankbaits in the Series 5 model.
We're out.
You're not out. You got all kinds of them right there.
We're out.
Kevin, I need 6.
Have a lollipop.
I do not want a lollipop.
Have a lollipop.
Do you have it in sexy shad color?
AFCO's new Yuri performance shirts are made out of a new fabric. Aeromesh technology, Aeromesh fabric, really breathable. You know, it just doesn't stick to you whenever you're sweating. It's 105 in Florida. You know, you got sun beating down, there's hardly any wind. You know, your shirt won't stick to your back or anything like that. Any little breeze gets through it, and all the AFCO features that you like with the hood, not without a hood, depending on which one you like. It's got an odor technology, so your pits don't stink whenever you're sweating. It has thumb loops. So whenever you're driving down the lake, 70 miles an hour in a bass boat, you got the thumb through here, sleeves won't roll up, so you have no excuse if you get sunburned. Any little breath of air gets through and cools you down, so make sure you check them out. Any fish, any water, any condition, AFCO has you covered. professional angler, you've got so many things on your mind. Any advantage that we have is key. And not only rods and reels and lines and baits, but in our clothes. And the guys at AFCO, I mean, they have something for every situation. There's nothing AFCO hasn't thought about with the fishermen in mind. It's designed for fishermen, by fishermen, for every scenario you can come to. Any fish, any water, any condition, AFCO has you covered.
Yeah, you care about gear ratios, inches per turn, and ball bearings, but most importantly, you want reliability and dependability in the equipment you use. Lew's doesn't cut corners when it comes to the gear they build. The new Speed Spool LFS is the best $99 reel in the market. Go see for yourself.
The name SPRO says it all. SPRO stands for Sports Professionals. When you look at the pro staff that SPRO has brought on board over the past 15 years, it's been pretty incredible. I mean, one got it just then. From the development of the rock crawler to the McStick, from the Fat Papa to the Little John series, when you tie a SPRO bait on, you know it's been designed by a professional to get the job done.
Let's face it, fishing electronics are no longer an afterthought. They've become a necessity. And at the Bass Tank, our experts match you with the right electronics, provide professional installation, and educate you to help maximize your catching results while providing support along the way. Because let's be honest, it's about catching, not just fishing. And when you're ready for better results, join the Bass Tank team. Visit us today on Facebook or go to thebasstank.com.
Hey everybody, Todd Faircloth here. Want to show you one of my favorite braided lines, SX1 30-pound Sunline braid. I use this braided line for a couple of different applications, and one of my favorites to use for this line is a swim jig. Casts great, and it's small diameter, and just works really great on a swim jig. Another technique I like to use for 30-pound SX1 Sunline braid is whenever I'm flipping like a light, say an 1/8 to a 1/4 ounce weight in grass, small diameter, I don't lose much action on my worm, just works great in those scenarios. So if you're looking for a braided line for a swim jig or fishing a light Texas rig, check out Sunline's SX1 30-pound braid.
All right, we are back on a Thursday, closing out the week.
Dude, we might have to take 2 commercial breaks. That's a long stretch of...
Well, it's just gonna, I split it up.
I know.
I've been shortening it up throughout the shows. It's not as long as it used to be. What were you doing anyway? What do you care about the break? You're over there doing stuff.
I'm over here looking at the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame bidding. I would like to point up that we are now valued at $1,360 for what is now officially and forever known as a cornucopia of experiences.
Cornucopia.
A lot of stuff added on there. T-Roy, you can go alligator hunting with him now. You can go duck hunting with Steve Bowman. You can go cranking with Keith Combs. Polinick is kicking our butt.
He's a superstar.
Jimmy Houston is really kicking our butt in the bidding. We started out strong. Like we were leading for a while as the overall bids. I feel like we were like when we play like Sam Houston State in football and they like go down and score a touchdown and they're all like, "Oh, look, we're
fired up.
We're leading Oklahoma. Like we got a shot on this." And then it just like actually reality.
It's still a good dollar amount though, dude.
Yeah, like it is. Like I said, it runs through tomorrow. Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, Bass Fishing HOF. All the proceeds go towards the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. Steve Bowman came on 2 days ago, talked about what it was, kind of protecting and historical stuff for the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. There, you come if you win the bid. You come, expenses. Jeffy's will put you up at a hotel, depending on where you're coming in from, help you with some travel expenses. Yeah. You get to go bowling with the man himself, Mark Jeffries.
Beers, pizza.
He's throwing in a Globo Gym ball.
No, 900 Global.
Oh, Purple Cobra's there. And then get to go fishing with me. We can go crappie fishing. We can go bass fishing. Whatever.
That's the.
If we do it this
juice
winter,
right there,
we need to go trophy crappie fishing.
There you have
I think
it.
you would enjoy that. And hell, I'll even fillet the fish.
And then they're going to come back
and then be on BTL the next
Yeah.
day as a co-host, sitting right here where me and Brad usually sit. So.
All right, it is time to go to our special guest, and greatly appreciate this BTL fan
on the water.
Yeah, he knows Hartwell very well.
Mm-hmm.
Has a tremendous amount of experience on the body of water.
There's a tremendous amount of patience if he enjoys fishing a blueback herring lake.
What, you don't like doing that?
I love it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you don't have to have an incredible amount of patience.
No, you're right. All right, let's bring him in. Ralph, how you doing, man?
Good morning, guys.
All right, what do we have going on the water? Day 2 on Hartwell. Kind of set it up for us.
We started out this morning right before blast off. A good little shower came through. By blast off time, it cleared out. Mostly cloudy skies, water temps. High 70s, you get in the creeks, it's low 70s. The big problem with that for the creeks, two things there is the water temperatures dropped about 16 degrees in the last week and a half.
Wow.
Wow.
We've had some cool nights the last 2 weeks. Down here in the south, it's usually still 95 degrees. When I got up this morning, it was 54 degrees. So it's a big change from what you're normally fishing this year. So I think that's kind of put a stun on some of those shallow fish. I'm a shallow fisherman, and it's put a stun on it. The wind starting is just now picked up. That'll help this blueback herring bite. I'm seeing it. I mean, it's like the Indianapolis 500 out here this morning. You make 10 casts, you jump off of a point, you go to the next point. 10 casts, you jump up. You got a sore back and some strong arms by the end of the day of yanking that trolling motor up.
180 guys in this field. I mean, you've got the river guys. You talked a little bit about what the creeks and rivers are doing. I'm going to show a little knowledge here of Hartwell. You can go down to Lightwood Log area, all that down lake. You have the middle. Like, what would you say? I'm not sure where you're located on the lake, but percentage wise, are there 100 guys rotating the lower end, just hoping to come across the right cane pile, or are there a bunch of guys that are off in hidey holes?
Matt, it's funny. I'm in Lightwood Log, the mouth of it right now.
There you go.
Yeah, it's. I tell you what, I was out here a while ago trying to get some footage of Andy Whitaker for you. He's a local stick here. I ran up on him, and 3 guys have fished the same point that he was fishing 20 minutes ago.
Wow.
It's all timing. You can fish 10 spots, and the 11th one you come up on, it's a 20-pound bag. I was out here just a minute ago, 115 foot of water. They came up. A big school of them come up. So it's frustrating. Yes, it's very frustrating. And these fish are get so conditioned also to this. It's hard to know what you're going to do day in, day out on these fish. Sun pops out, it changes them up totally. Gets cloudy, it changes them up totally. So you have to fish an open mind. You're not fishing for the same place I caught them yesterday, same place I caught them in practice. If you're going to do this blueback herring bite, sometimes it's better not to even practice.
And I know that as I fished the Bass Nation Championship there in 2017, and on the final day, I made the final day, and I needed a good bag to make it to the Bassmaster Classic. And I had an observer, and I told my observer, I said, I know this sounds crazy, but I think my chance to catch a biggest bag today is to fish less. And he's like, what? And I was like, every day I've seen 3 to 5 pound large schools of largemouth coming up and big spots coming up. But I've got a bait out, and I have to reel it in and cast it back out. By the time that happens, they're down. I've got to catch it. My best shot is to sit there and wait and then hope I can put my bait between the blueback herring and the 5-pounder that's chasing it, and I might get 10 shots of that a day, and if it works out 5 times, I got 17 pounds.
Exactly.
All right, Ralph, how impressed were you with the 20-pound limit to lead this thing on day 1?
That's a stick. I fish this lake probably 150 days a year, And my best bags the last couple of weeks have been 14, 15 pounds. So to come in here with 20 pounds is that's phenomenal. And to back it up with another good one, with that one, he may be on a little something.
Wow. I'm gonna throw this out. This might not work out, but I know an old timer from Hartwell. And if you fish it that much, you might know this guy as well. That I met when I was there. I still keep up with this guy. You know George Parker?
I know George Parker.
Oh yeah, George Parker. He's the man.
George Parker is the man.
I talked to him. It takes me about 6 minutes to understand what he's saying, and because he's got the stuff. Man, there's a crowd there on the blueback. There's blue black herring by it. You just chuck it out there. That's a real sweet. He's been around for forever. I met George Parker doing hot laps in the Walmart while I was getting oil for my boat, and he walked up and he was doing his diabetes walk. He said, "Hey man, you're fishing that Bass Nation?" I said, "Yup." Dude, I've been friends with him ever since. Great, just a great old dude.
Yeah, these guys here, I know you were talking about it the other week on your show. There's some sticks down here. North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina has got some good fishing.
All right, Ralph, let me ask you this. With your vast experience, fall fishing on Hartwell, is this typical conditions for the fall, and are the guys basically doing what you would do to have success?
No, it's not. This is not very common. We've usually gotten, it's still close to 90 degrees. So it's not normal. I think that's probably put some of the guys that you see from our area kind of in a tailspin first day. But it's fishing a little different this year. Plus the lake is in the bushes, and usually we have droughts every summer, normal. This year the lake has stayed full pool since February. Usually the lake's down 8 to 10 foot, and to me, if you're going to fish this style, makes it easier because the fish doesn't have so many bank line grass, bank line trees to go get into. It puts some more on these cane piles, as Matt talked about. It puts some more in this standing timber. Right now, with this lake's 98 square miles, I mean, there's a fish could be in every inch of the bank line of this lake. Wow. So it has made it a lot tougher.
Wow. Just to throw it into perspective, we don't have to go into, obviously, cane pile, sink the cane, in a bucket. It goes up there. The way the bluebacks live, they like to hang out around it. The fish uses an ambush point. You chuck something over it. You chuck something around it. Boom, they come up, they eat it. There's your blueback herring on cane piles in 20 seconds. I say that to say this. You fished it a lot. Give the people an idea. In that bottom lower half of the lake, how many cane piles do you think exist? Just as a whole, like how many cane piles are in the bottom end of Lake Hartwell?
Oh my God. Millions. I mean, it's ridiculous the time and money these guys spend putting out cane piles. And I tell you, it used to be a bigger secret than it is now. With electronics you got now, you probably could manage to get 1,000 cane piles in a couple hours. You go to a point, you get out in 25 to 40 foot of water, turn your side imaging on, and boom, it lights up like Christmas light. But it's not as big a deal right now too with the water up, because these guys that had them set in 25 foot, they're in 30, 35 feet. That first break, 25 to 30 foot break, is the magic number for those cane piles to work the best this time of year. The deeper ones work better in summer, but these fish are starting to transition back up shallower now.
All right, real quick, there was a comment on the YouTube comment. Some people, they don't know what cane piles are. Just briefly explain what cane piles are, Ralph.
Cane pile is no more than a 5-gallon bucket. You go out and find you some bamboo. You cut as much 15 to 20 foot tall bamboo that you can stuff in one bucket. Put you some concrete in it, put a little water in it, let it harden up, tie a milk jug with about a 2-foot rope in the top of that cane so it will stand straight up, and you just go out and drop it. You drop it out in areas that you think that the fish will be pulling up to.
Now, I have to ask this because I know in the 90s and early 2000s here in Oklahoma, obviously there's a lot of fish caught on brush piles. It's not cane piles, but it's brush piles. There have been some guys that have readily admitted they are defensive fishing. In other words, they go out and they move brush piles, even though it's not
with
theirs.
A grappling hook.
With a grappling hook. All right? They call it defensive fishing, to coin a term from David Dudley in a different sense. Does that take place on Hartwell, Ralph?
I know a few guys that's been known to drag big treble hooks and move them off of a pile that they know a guy's been catching them on.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just remember when I was there, like a productive point, you'd roll up and you'd have like, you could tell one guy would set like 4 or 5. They'd be in a row or they'd be in a square, but then there'd be like 7 or 8 around it too. Like a point would have around it like 15 or 20 of these things that probably 3 or 4 different guys set up, because some of them would have, a milk jug that would make sure they stood straight up on it. Others would be set up differently, but it's really cool how a lot of these guys set up to where you'd be like, okay, I'm going to cast here and I can cast to a cane pile, 3 cane piles in front of me from one cast. And it's really strategic on how and where they put these things.
Yeah. Some people want to know why cane, why bamboo, Ralph?
Bamboo it lasts forever. Plus, you can make the most dense brush pile with that bamboo. That bamboo, you can probably get 15, 20 sticks in a 5-gallon bucket, and those leaves will stay on for a long time. So it algaes up quick. It holds a lot of algae, pulls the bait in to eat that algae off of the bamboo. So then, bass follow right behind it.
Do you like blueback herring, or do you wish your home lake didn't have them in it?
I hate blueback herring. My depth finder is a rod. I check water depth with a rod. If I can't touch the bottom with my rod, then I'm too deep fishing.
You're a power guy, straight power.
Yeah,
straight power, and I still like to catch the largemouth just because. You catch 5 largemouth on this lake, you're gonna beat every spot, just about every spot fisher.
Yeah.
All right, for some of the people out there, would you say with the conditions the way they are right now that 10 minutes on a specific point is a long time for these guys?
Oh, 10 minutes is a lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these guys that are dialed in, you make 5 casts. And with a spook, you can do that in 2.5, 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the cool things that I learned, and I know Mike McClellan has talked about doing this offshore, is doing a donut around his brush pile or a spot just to get things going. Mm-hmm. Well, what I noticed on Hartwell is, man, every time a boat ran past, they'd come up. So I started, plowing my areas. I mean, I'm over 50, 60 foot of water, but just and then you stand up and you're ready, and within 20 seconds, you're going to get one shot somewhere within 50 yards. And then it's on to the next spot. And as soon as you leave, you can look back behind you and they're going to come up again.
Yeah.
It's different fish. It's like Texoma striper fishing. It's like Texoma striper fishing.
Well, and we have a ton of stripers and hybrid in here too, but you're exactly right. It's almost like you chum up some bait and then it just is a dinner bait.
All right, very nice.
Good stuff.
Ralph, greatly appreciate it. Can we wrap things up? I don't know if there's anything that you can show us on the water now. Are you able
What are your boys' secret spots, perhaps?
Yeah, that was hilarious, man.
Well, that's funny. We've got a tournament here next week, and that's funny that he said that, because I probably taught that to him. I've threatened him more than once.
You notice Ralph's a shallow water fisherman. He goes down to Lightwood Log in the middle. That's about as far away from the shallow flipping stuff as you can get on
He's got a good signal there, though. That's why, man. He's got a great signal. I don't know if there's anything that you can show us based on the live feed.
Yeah, I can show you right now. I'll show you. There's 3 guys in front of me, how close together these guys are fishing.
Let's see here.
Wow.
And that's pretty typical right there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's another thing that's frustrating for me. I don't like to fish in the crowd. I don't like to fish on top of people.
Yeah. Well, you got to like the water being up in the bushes, though.
Oh, it's made me so happy.
Dude, I'm telling you, if things don't work out for you, you might have a future in this, because you did a great job today.
Did a great job, Ralph.
Well, guys, I appreciate you letting me be on and give you a little insight of what's going on in the lake, and be glad to do it anytime.
Yeah. Now, do you go to any other lakes around there? I mean, what's your forte lake-wise around there?
I fish Russell, Clark Hill, Greenwood, Kiowee. I have a lake place here, so of course I fish a lot more here. But
yeah,
I fish some other lakes just so I can get the shad style lakes instead of fishing the blueback heron lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cooper River, you fish that? That probably sets up your style.
Cooper River's about 4 or 5 hours away.
Okay.
That's dumping in the Santee.
Yeah.
So I have fished it. It's just, with working full time and that makes it kind of tough to go down there and spend a couple days. And that's a total different because you're starting to get into brackish water and tidal water down there.
Yeah.
So that's a total different fishery than what we have up in the upstate.
Yeah. Hey, man, the fans greatly appreciate you giving us the info. You did a great job, Ralph. Anytime we have an event there or there's an event there, we'd love to have you on the show, man. You did a great job.
All right, guys. Thanks, and have a good rest of the day.
All right, man. Take care. Be safe.
All right. See you.
All right. There you have it. Great job, man.
Yeah,
good stuff there. Did a great job. And that's got to be frustrating, though, a shallow water guy being on a
That's why I said he named Kiowee. He named all of the lakes that are all blueback lakes.
Yeah.
I like how I've spent 1 week on Hartwell. I act like I'm a dang expert on it.
Are you not?
Guess how much our bid is up to on the Bass Fishing HOF.
Tell me.
For a cornucopia of experiences, $2,040.
We've surpassed the $2,000 mark?
We've surpassed the $2,000 mark.
Oh, my gosh. Unbelievable. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. Then we're going to come back with John Kelbe, the man that's going to inform us on this whole Nielsen rating stuff.
I still think you need to bid on Hank Cherry's winning windshield. That would be a cool piece. It's only $300. Signed.
You're the man with all the money.
No, it's going right back into it, Mark.
Reinvest,
I'm
right?
just reinvesting.
Reinvest. All right, let's take a quick break. Come back with John. Everybody stay tuned.
All of us on the Pro Tournament Trail use Gamakatsu hooks.
Why?
Because they are absolutely the best.
It's not about how many bites you get.
It's how many you put in the boat.
Gamakatsu makes hooks for every fishing style.
We didn't come this far to lose fish.
Did you?
For more information, visit gamakatsu.com.
The Big Bite Baits Kamikaze Swim On is a very unique bait, and it's got a full body but with ribs to give it a bigger profile but not more plastic. It's got a jointed tail that gives it a lot of action, as well as this up and down crawl type trail with holes and ribs in it, so it creates a bubble trail almost. This bait is supposed to be fished upside down or vertical like this on a great for a chatterbait. I prefer it on a swim jig as well, but you can also cut it down and put it on the back of a finesse jig. Flip it around for some spotted bass or flipping docks. Anytime you want a small, compact, little trailer for it, this is great for it. So check out the full lineup of swim-ons at bigbitebaits.com.
At Duckett Fishing, we have assembled the top pros in the country to help us design rods to give you a competitive advantage. Castability, strength, durability, action, sensitivity, weight and balance, and consistency. Combine that with the best warranty in the industry, and you have rods that are pro-driven.
Duckett Fishing, pro-driven.
Blue Water by TH Marine. Offering LED lighting solutions for your boat, trailer, truck, ATV, and so much more. Engineered and built to be rugged with waterproof and submersible options. Designed for easy installation, Blue Water is available in a variety of colors and styles. All backed by a limited lifetime warranty. Blue Water by TH Marine.
right, we are back on a Thursday, wrapping up the week. Ready for our second guest today.
All right, we got to hold on. I got to take
What?
some. Well, Alex on the YouTube said I'll trade you a trophy blue cat trip for a trophy crappie trip, and he guarantees that I'll catch my personal best catfish.
Ooh.
Just shoot me a message on either social media or Matt at basso.com.
Where's he based out of?
I don't know. I have
where-
no idea. But I mean, so I'm all about the big catfish. I've only gone. My buddy Preston's really good at not Keystone, Oolaga.
Yeah.
But when we've gone out there, it was a shad kill, so we didn't catch anything. But I love the big cats. Actually, when I was pulling out of the practice day at the Arkansas River, there are some old boys in a pontoon that I passed. I mean, we're talking no shirts, overalls, straw hats. Like, I mean, it's Oklahoma catfishing.
Yeah, that's it.
And it was really cool. They had like a 56-pound flathead that they had caught.
Wow.
And we're taking pictures of, and he's like, man, over 10 pounds, I like to let him go.
Wow.
He goes, we'll just let him go next to the ray up here so all these people bobber fishing have a chance to hook this thing. But man, I'll show you some videos. This thing looks like a Great Dane. I mean, it looks like a pet. It's just massive. It's the biggest one I'd ever seen in person. So
Really?
yes, totally
That would
totally
be
into
cool.
that for the blue cat. Those blue
Yeah.
cats are aggressive too. I've probably caught like 10 or 15 of them in my life.
Yeah.
My biggest catfish is probably a 15-pounder. So yeah, I want to hook a giant catfish.
All right, very nice. All right, it is time for our next guest, and I greatly appreciate him taking the time to come on. He is a television executive for a number of stations in the state of Texas and has been dealing with the Nielsen ratings, and there's another one. I think it's called CompuServe or something. I don't know. And he's going to dive into all the basic details on what these ratings mean and how important they are from an advertising standpoint. Let's bring him in now. His name's John Kelbe. John, you there, man?
Hey, Mark. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Greatly appreciate you reaching out to me. I know I had been struggling trying to get a couple of big names in the advertising world to come on and talk about the Nielsen ratings, and we tried to work out scheduling. It didn't work, and then I think he just got frustrated because I kept getting the bass fishing ? Didn't really understand it. So
Yeah, well, I'm a long-time listener, so I would be on my morning runs listening to podcasts, just getting frustrated. I'm like, I just gotta send you guys a message and try to remember by the time I get back to the house.
All right, so real quick, you're an executive for a number of stations in the Texas market.
Yeah,
All
I'm the
right.
sales manager for a few stations in Texas.
All right, you've been dealing with Nielsen ratings for what, 15 years?
Yeah, I've been dealing with Nielsen and ComScore ratings for about 15 years.
So let's just jump right in. Why don't you give a basic kind of thesis on what they mean?
Okay. So there's 107 million households in the U.S. So if you say you do a 1 rating, that means you're going to reach 1% of all those households. Now, maybe only 50% have their TV on at that time, and then you only reach 30% of those. So if you do 30% of the 50%, then you're down to like a 15 rating. So that's how you get to ratings points. They're basically percentage of the entire population. If you say you have a rating of adults 25-54, that means you're getting a percent of all adults 25-54. Or if you say in households, you're getting 1% or 2% or whatever, all households.
All right, I'm gonna throw this map up.
Sure.
And hopefully folks at home can see that. What does that map mean from a Nielsen standpoint?
There's 200 designated TV markets, 210 designated TV markets. Most of the markets there are white. Then you're going to have the largest markets are blue, and then the more medium-sized markets are yellow. So maybe the top 20 there are blue, the top 50 beyond that are yellow. And in those top markets, there's 3 different ways Nielsen's going to take those measurements. In the blue markets, people are going to have a device in their home that's going to say person A, person B, person C. And when they're watching TV, they have to go press button A. I am person A, I'm watching this. And so they know exactly who you are watching this. Now there's only maybe 400, 500 people in each of those blue markets that's doing this. Some statistically viable number. that they're doing this, and they have all these statistics, and it's a equal cross section across income and race and age. But they're saying that they're using those 500 people saying, I'm person A and I'm watching. And then you have to press that button like every 15 or 30 minutes or something to say you're still watching and you don't walk away. Now, the yellow markets, they have a little device now. This is relatively new, where they now have, it basically listens and it picks up on cues from your TV that you really don't listen to. And so when it hears those, it knows, hey, you're watching ESPN or you're watching ABC, and it will log that. But it doesn't know who's in the room. It just knows that TV's on. And then in the white market, and the last 2 years, it was, I think last year they rolled it out, they now use return path data. And that means that when you're watching through your cable box, then that cable box, at least their partners, not every company's doing this, but the partners they partnered with are giving their data over to Nielsen saying, okay, so this out of 30,000 people we have in the market, 10,000 are watching Dancing with the Stars. But you're going to take a month or a month and a half to get data back from those white markets. You're going to take a day to get back information from those yellow and blue markets.
Okay.
So if you're going to see something, say, hey, Dancing with the Emmys had 6.4 million people watch. Okay, they don't really know that yet. But based on the 25,000 people across the country that they have monitored in their homes, they've come up with a statistical estimate that it's going to be there.
Which would be from the blue markets.
The
correct?
Blue and the yellow maybe together if they're just giving you a one big. But if they give you something that's down to the demo saying 18 to 49 or 25 to 54, those are coming just from the blue markets.
All right. And when I look at this map, and this map is from 1819, I couldn't find a map for 20, but I'm assuming it's very similar.
And not the year 1819, the year 2018, 2019.
Yeah. Good point.
A lot of gunfights back then on TV. Like cattle drives, about a land exploration.
Yeah, good point, Matthew.
How to fix your covered wagon.
There's a lot of yellow and blue in fishing markets.
There's also a lot of white.
Yeah, there's more white than anything.
No, I agree.
There's a lot of, look at that. That's the beltway down there through Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and North Florida. You're talking about and Texas, a lot of Texas, East Texas in there. There's a lot of white that takes a long time to get data back.
Texas. So say the blue markets there are Dallas and Houston. And then you got Austin and San Antonio are the two other yellow ones. So are you saying that Waco and Tyler and Lufkin and Nacogdoches, all that is not the prime fishing? I would say that if you're going to take ratings on who's watching bass fishing, I really don't want Dallas-Fort Worth that probably doesn't have as higher concentration as bass fishermen as a Tyler Lufkin.
Yeah, I think a lot of the high concentrations are in the white.
Yeah.
I would say so. More your rural stuff. So it's all about total households. I would say your cities, your, New York City is the biggest one. LA is the second. So you're not going to have a highest concentration there. So your national ratings aren't going to be that great.
So real quick then, how does it take into account the stuff that you record? So what is it the
DVR?
Yeah, the DVR stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so most of the ratings that they put out, because most of what agencies are called live ratings. So that's who watched it live. And then you're going to have live +3 or live +7. And that means they watched it live or within 3 days, or they watched it live +7 days.
Huh. All right. It's interesting that the cable companies would be willing to give up that information on what the watching habits are of their customers.
Sure, there's money involved.
Okay.
I assume they're selling that data to these. And on the same aspect, these cable companies now are having to pay out to the broadcast stations now, so they got more expense. So I think that's a way to offset that new expense.
Okay. So let's go back. I want to go back to the math just real quick on how the rating is generated. Sure. Okay. And you don't have to use a fishing thing. You can use anything to where people understand how this ratings number is calculated.
Okay, so I'll use the Emmys for example. I just have what I Googled from there. They said 6.4 million people watched the Emmys.
Okay.
Or 6.4 million households. So 6.4 million people or households watched, and there's 107 million in the U.S. Then they got 5.9% of all households watched. So that's a 5.9 household rating.
Okay, you got that, Matt?
Yeah, that's pretty basic. I mean, I feel like that's out of all this stuff, that's a simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you may give you another term here is reach and frequency. So how many people? So if you want to start getting into a schedule, say you're going to air an ad in the 10 p.m. news every night in Oklahoma City. If you air that 5 times in there, how many people are you going to reach, and how many times are they going to see it? So if you're at once, you'd say on average, it's a 3 rating, so 3% of everybody's going to see it. But if you air it 5 times, you're not going to get just 3% of the people to watch, because a different 3% is going to watch every day. So then you might end up with 10% of the population might have seen your ad if you air it 5 times. But on average, they only saw it 2 or 3 times instead of 5. So you're talking about the frequency.
All right, what's the margin of error on this?
I don't know the margin of error, but I can tell you this, that when Nielsen's changed up their methodology and how they measured it, and they have 400 people filling out books and writing what they're writing, and then we went to 30,000 cable boxes being back. The top shows are still the top shows. The bottom shows are still the bottom shows. So they're pretty right about what people are watching.
All right, let's jump into the fishing scenario on television.
It might be like a half a point.
Okay,
say, but no one uses that.
All right, let's jump into the fishing thing. What can you tell us about Bassmaster Television and Major League Fishing Television?
Yeah, so I pulled some ratings in one of my markets, and off the cable ratings. Now, let me just give a little background. A lot of people say, well, 90% of people have cable, right? But that's a big disadvantage, especially if you're on CBS, where 100% have CBS. So that's a 10% bump for them. And if you divide that 10% up across 5 networks, then there's 2 extra rating points for you.
Wow.
2 rating points is huge if you just garner that just for being over the air.
Yeah.
So anyways, what I'm seeing from Bassmaster on ESPN2 is that on average, they're getting a 0.16 or 0.15 rating. Like not 1%, 0.15%.
Okay.
Of the market are watching the Bassmaster live coverage.
And this is live. We'll have that TV on live. We're not talking about reruns. We're not talking about the.
Well, they could DVR it,
but this doesn't include the DVR stuff.
It does include DVR stuff.
Okay.
All right.
So, but this is just. But I'm saying that this is the Bassmaster live coverage. This isn't the Bassmaster show. This is when they were doing the live all day.
Right.
On ESPN2. So. And their best performance was looks like the Sundays did the best overall. The Sundays were mostly on the top. St. Clair was their highest championship day on St. Clair was their best rating at a 0.3. I looked at other ratings that same day on 823, like their Sports Center on ESPN did a 0.5. That was their highlight for Sports Center, but the rest of the Sports Centers, say at 10 o'clock, did a 0.3 as well. So I would say if your Bassmaster live coverage is getting just as much views as Sports Center, I think you're doing all right.
Wow.
All right, now that's for your market. That
you just picked a random market.
I looked at 2 markets really, but I mean it was the same story in both markets.
Yeah. Okay, it's not nationwide. I don't want people to get confused. This is just a specific
snapshot.
Market in the nation. All right,
Yeah.
Specifically, kind of in Texas.
Yeah, it's just a snapshot, just to give you guys an idea. And
all right,
and from what I'm seeing from these guys, press releases, it kind of tells a similar story.
Okay.
So, and then I also looked at Bass Pro Tour, how it aired on the Discovery Channel. It did a 0.17. So 0.02% better than Bassmaster. And that's their show, not live coverage. Right?
Okay.
Discovery. And that's usually what's airing on Discovery, mostly their like World Championship. Or it's usually not just an Elite Series event or something, or just the regular events.
So is Major League Fishing and this, the press release that they came out with, where it said, let me just say this: Outdoor Channel, Sportsman Channel, World Fishing Network, Discovery Channel, and CBS has accounted for a staggering 86% of all viewership of competitive bass fishing programs on cable events during the past 4 quarters, quarter 3 19 and quarter 2 2020. Is this just based on sheer volume of repeated shows across a broad spectrum of channels?
Right. So you're looking at what I thought was interesting about that. One, they went from last third quarter to second quarter this year. So that stops in June. So when did Bassmaster start doing live on ESPN2?
Right around then.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, so if 50% of all fishing programming during that time is Major League Fishing, it's pretty easy to skew over 50% of the viewings. So it's just about what their competition is. But if you want to be in fishing on TV or on cable, then that's a good statistic just to get people. And I really like their press release versus the Bassmaster press release, because it speaks more agency jargon to me, and I think an agency is going to get more value out of this than I think there's a lot more fluff in the Bassmaster article.
All right, because that was the next thing on the Bassmaster article. The title on August 13th was New York Bassmaster Elite Series reel in more than 7 million viewers.
Yeah, okay. So over the course of all that viewership, 7 million people watched. So that's what I'm talking about, reach, right? So if you had an ad in every 15 minutes, then you reach that many people. But I don't know how frequent that was, and I don't know what the average viewership is.
All right.
So what Major League Fishing is saying in their press release is saying that they averaged 97,000 viewing households on the Outdoor Channel. And then you look at Bassmaster press release saying that they had 85 million minutes watched on Lake Eufaula for 19 and a half hours of coverage. Well, that breaks down to 72,000 people on average are watching. So, and that's on ESPN2 on Eufaula. So what Major League Fishing is saying, we have 97,000 people watching on us on average on Outdoor Channel, which has a third of the distribution of ESPN2, and we're still outperforming them.
All right. So, I have a question real quick, because do you think that statement on the Bassmaster press release was related to the website and not the minutes watched on ESPN2? Because think about it. Can they actually measure minutes on television?
It says here, drew a combined audience of 7.2 million viewers over 8 days of coverage on ESPN2. Between televised coverage on ESPN2 and the live stream on Bassmaster.com and ESPN3, fans watched more than 214 million minutes of live tournament coverage during these two events. Now it gets kind of sticky. Doesn't it get kind of tricky? Because now you have to do all sorts of other metrics, and now you have to get onto the internet, and now you have apps, and now you have all sorts of this stuff that you're trying to all combine into one thing that makes sense to people like me.
Yeah, and there's a if you can figure out the platform, there's a lot of people trying to figure that out right now. If you give me an ad and I'm going to air it across everything, TV, internet, phones, whatever, and I'll give you one rating for that and sell it as one rate. And that's really tricky. And right now it's not being done, at least not effectively. So it's still coming out. You're going to buy TV, and then you're going to buy digital. And on digital, you can buy that. Say I'm going to buy it at $10 or maybe a $25 CPM would be good. So $25 for every 1,000 people you watch. And you're going to get that across they'll have a family of suites and networks. But to buy just that program, that's not there yet.
All right. How important are these numbers when it comes to ad agencies, John, and companies?
As important as the amount of money in your bank.
Wow.
That same number, right? So they're going to come out and they're going to say, I'm going to pay you $50 for every rating point. and they're going to take rates for all these different programs, and they're going to decide what they're going to buy, about who can give them the $50 per rating point. So if you have 2 rating points or you have 10 rating points, that's either a $100 show or a $5,000 show. So it's that important.
Wow.
I mean, so it seems like there's obviously there's specific ways you're talking about this Nielsen and the comp source and all that, but it also seems like there's a way that Bassmaster can make their stuff sound really good based on what they're choosing, and MLF can make their stuff sound really good in the press releases for the perception of it. Like, it seems like it's not it is an exact science, but you can also kind of make it sound good.
Yeah, it's same with anything, right? There's a whole bunch of numbers and statistics, and however you want to break down all that data to make your look good, then you can. There's just a lot of ways to break down numbers in anything. So if you want to get down to your total reach or my average audience, or even, hey, my audience on average has higher income than this audience.
Okay, so but this isn't just a fishing thing. Like, does this go on between American Idol and Dancing with the Stars, where they're going to it, and it's on a much bigger level like that, but you've got people in there, smart people like you with numbers and statistics that know all this, and like their job is to put the package together, go to the sponsors and say, look, we're kicking Dancing with the Stars' butt, and then Dancing with the Stars has someone that says we're kicking American Idol's butt, and it's just on how everyone can view.
Yeah, that's how we call it sales. That's why you're a salesman, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, you guys are the business guys. I'm the normal guy. I'm just saying this isn't just some fishing people going, let's throw some numbers out to make us look important. This goes on in every single aspect where you have competition fighting for the same ad dollars.
It's the same way you're going to describe your bass cat versus skeeter boat, right? So is it, okay, well, your bass cat can go 60 miles an hour, my skeeter can go 70. So that's it. That's the only statistic. Like, no, there's a whole lot more.
So it comes down to what that advertiser is valuing, the socioeconomical status of the person that's doing it, where it is at, whether there's all sorts of different factors.
Or the reach. It's about how much program you get out there. Like, hey, if you advertise with us, and the people are going to see it a whole bunch, or who's going to see it. The draw of Bassmaster is maybe going to be a broader audience because it's on ESPN2 versus on Outdoor Channel, which has a third of the reach. So ESPN2, from what I picked up from these articles, ESPN2 reaches 86 million households, and Outdoor Channel reaches 28 million.
But you have to throw Discovery in there and all the other, Pursuit Channel and all the other platforms that Major League Fishing has, though.
Yeah, so they have a lot more hours of programming out there. So obviously they're going to have a lot bigger reach. Right. Now, there's a different way that they sell than I sell. So a lot of times on these channels, say like Outdoor Channel, this is what I've picked up just, from being a fan of the sport and everything and different things. But Outdoor Channel is going to sell you 30 minutes. And then you're going to have 30 minutes to fill, and you got to fill all your own spots, and you give it to them as a 30-minute package. Now, you got to take my ratings or my estimated, all your statistics, sell to those advertisers and do it yourself. What I'm getting on maybe the ABC side or NBC or CBS or Fox is that they're coming to us and they have a program and they give us time slots to sell. So in the news, I get everything to sell. And Wheel of Fortune, I get maybe half of it to sell. And in Dancing with the Stars, I'm going to get like a minute or 2 minutes to sell.
Gotcha. All right. So bottom line, the validity of the Bassmaster press release and the Major League Fishing press release is there based upon the numbers that they are reporting. We have just validated, at least for this specific market.
They're not just pulling stuff out of thin air.
No, those numbers on both accounts are valid. Now, my next question is, how does fishing compare to other things in the ratings?
That's exactly where you want me to go. So I pulled this information yesterday. It's
called a leading question.
So you want to start with the big thing is like Super Bowl. Super Bowl can get a 50 rating up to a 90 rating, depending on, how strong the market is. Okay. But then you would go down to the Emmys, get a 6 rating. The bowling on Fox did a 1.2 rating.
And what was fishing?
So bowling's a 1.2, fishing's a 0.15.
How about that, Matthew?
But is that because of when and where it's on? It's on a major network like Fox, so you're going to reach more?
Yeah. So if I remember right, back when we last had it on CBS, had Major League Fishing on, the World Championship stuff, I looked at it at the time. I couldn't go back and find that. My system wasn't working right. But I think it also did. It would probably do a 1.2 or higher.
Nice.
So that's what I'm saying, the power of broadcast.
Strike King's getting their money's worth with Chris Prather this week.
Yeah.
When does that air?
It starts, what is today? I think it starts tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's another thing with those ratings is that, oh, dang it, I forgot where I was going. I'm sorry, guys.
That's all good.
You're
killing
doing
this
awesome,
thing, dude.
man.
But,
I feel much better about press releases on both sides of the coin now.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that a lot of these big companies, they're going to have agencies that are going to help them out and at least value up what they're going to do with their sponsorships. And so it doesn't really matter what numbers they say because the agency's got their own subscription and they know what the numbers are too. And they'll break them down how they want to break them down. And a good agency is not going to really listen too much to the salesman as far as their numbers go. But you try your best to sway them and to look at certain statistics and point out certain features that benefit you. But if you're going direct and you're trying to sell this to new companies that don't have an ad agency, that don't have subscriptions to their own ratings, then you can get really creative with.
Yeah. So I mean, let's just put this at this. Let's say Jeffries wants to run an ad for Bass Talk Live, and he wants to do it during a fishing program, but he doesn't know whether he wants to do it during Elite Series or Major League Fishing, right? So there's three things he could do. He could either go to Bass, listen to what they have to say, go to MLF, listen to what they have to say. They're both going to try to hard sell him based on how the numbers sound to them to make him say this is it. Or he could hire an independent ad or an independent agency or someone or something that says, okay, I'm going to independently look at your numbers and not just listen to the way you guys are spinning them to me, and I'll make my decision based off of that.
Yeah, if you are an ad agency that has their own subscription, then they're going to have their own data to look at that. Now, it's either he goes direct or he hires an agency to do that. And either him or the agency can buy that time directly from Bassmaster Major League Fishing and get kind of product integration and be a part of the program there. Mm-hmm. Or you can buy some airtime from Discovery Channel or ESPN and you can air on there and you can air through like a cable system and work with the cable networks and airtime through there.
Yeah, that was the other question that I had because I know I've seen local ads run during national programming, and those are spots that the networks have worked out some arrangement with the cable company to sell that time, correct?
Yeah, so say like we air, then Bassmaster is going to get a few ads, then Discovery Channel is going to get a bunch of ads, and then the local cable company is going to get some ads.
Very cool.
All right, one more question. What has more validity, John? Digital statistics or Nielsen ratings? In other words, when you look at web statistics, is there more validity with digital statistics than the estimates of Nielsen ratings?
Digital is 100% accurate. It's exactly who watched. There is no formulas, estimates, statistics. It's exactly who watched. And TV ratings, it's all estimates. You never know. We're just guessing. And this is our best guess.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this segment. When I went to OU, I had one class at OU, and I was on the dean's list. But I had one class at OU that I had 100% in. It was statistics. I had to take it as a communications major. I took it as an upper division elective, I believe. I loved statistics. It was the only thing that made sense. Now, I failed chemistry 3 times, and I wasn't good at it, but statistics just made sense to me.
Yeah, well.
I really enjoyed it.
All right, Matt, you need to get down to Tawakoni and catch some blue cats on Tawakoni. Might get 50 pounds down there.
Ooh.
That's a big one. The only thing I remember Tawakoni for is where Keith Combs was first allegedly using Remember that bait that was a bluegill with the head? It was like a bluegill jig.
Yeah.
What was it called? Something. It had the hard head with the hook, and then like this. It looked like a side swimming swim bait. Someone else help me out here on the chat. What was it? But he was using it in a TTBC or PAA event, flipping it around the docks on Tawakoni.
It might have been PBA because I don't think the TTBC was ever on Tawakoni.
What was it? What was the name of that thing? A lateral perch. He was flipping a lateral perch down there. But yeah, I know there's tons of big blue cats down there. I would totally be down to do that. Like I said, I'm all about the big stuff that pulls hard.
All right, guys, I got to run.
All right, man.
Down to the beach.
All right, man.
Awesome. Thank you, John.
Great stuff, John. Good luck to you. Be safe and enjoy vacay, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Take care. See ya. All right, good stuff.
I feel better about it.
He did a great job. I think there was a couple of things that came out of that. One, an explanation of the accuracy of the ratings, the validity of both sides. And I think we can move on down the road understanding how those numbers are generated. Now, you made a point yesterday, Matthew, on the show. Does it really matter to the fans?
I don't really think it does.
No, it doesn't. I really don't think so. I think they're going to watch it no matter what.
Here's the only thing. So your college football ratings are down, your basketball, your NFL, and a portion of that, a little bit of that is you like to be a part of something that you feel like is important.
Yeah.
Do you not agree with me? I think it's something within the human nature. So when you're watching the game and no one's in the stands, subconsciously, I think you're not as vested in it because it doesn't feel, as important to as many people, even though there's tons of people watching it. So maybe subconsciously, if you can look at this and say, oh, look how many people
I was part of that.
This is important. This is more important than the other one.
Yeah.
Then maybe subconsciously you're going to lean towards that, to where a press release that says, hey, look at how important this is, causes you to maybe lean a little bit towards that side. But as a whole, I think, especially in fishing where it's a niche sport where people are going to watch what they enjoy, I think they're going to pick what they enjoy, why, and they don't really give a damn who else is watching it.
I agree. Ratings are down. The NBA ratings are down. NASCAR ratings were down. They actually bumped up a little bit here recently. A lot of the sports down. Golf, surprisingly, was up.
Right.
And part of that, obviously, was the
here's
US
comments.
Open.
None of this matters to me because I watch it all. This does not matter to the fans. More fishing is what we want. Here's why it does matter. Because the people who are making the decisions in this on all aspects are relying. Their job is to make money at this. They don't do this just out of charity. It's not. Bass and MLF are not nonprofit organizations. Correct?
Yeah, and he said how important.
Right.
You remember the comment he made? It's just like your bank account.
Right. So while 7 million and 86% or whatever the two are saying might not be important to you, the fact that you're logging on your phone, turning on your computer, watching it on Discovery Channel, watching it on Bassmaster.com, those options exist because of this stuff that is going on behind the scenes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're getting more fishing. You're having these opportunities to watch this stuff
because the revenue.
Because the ad revenue that is being generated by everything that's going on of what we're seeing.
Yeah. Hey, man, they're in business to make money. And sometimes that upsets a few people that the bottom line is this. You have to make money. You have to be profitable. You have to take into consideration the amount of money that it costs to run your business. But I'm going to go back to the fans because when it comes to watching fishing on television, your whole subconsciously comment, that may exist, but quite honestly, I don't think the fans care. They just want to watch fishing. They just want to watch fishing. All right? And the comment that he made about the difference between television and digital is huge.
I would have thought it would have been the opposite.
Well, the decisions that ad agencies are making now are those decisions being driven by these ratings as they've always been, or now how much influence is the digital having? And I think we're seeing that in the fishing industry because the amount of presence that YouTube has established with so many anglers, with the companies promoting their products, with the representation of products on YouTube and other social entertainment aspects. So quite diverse. The big thing is, here's one thing. I'm going to say this about Major League Fishing. All right. One of the things that I'm really going to be curious about for 2021 is, yes, one of their core products is the secrecy of the cups.
Correct.
And putting the cups on television. Are they going to make a move because of how technology and mainly the existence of what the fans want? Could they quite possibly change that to where they mix a live element to those events, but still create a television product? Would that work? Would they somehow come up with some type of format that entwines live coverage during the Cup events, but still maintain their presence from a television aspect?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I've always been a believer that even if you know the outcome and it's treated like you don't know the outcome, a fishing fan is going to watch it, and a non-fishing fan isn't going to be on the websites and places to know what the outcome is if they just happen to stumble across it on the TV. So I don't think you lose any viewership. If anything, you gain some viewership, and MLF and the BPT becomes relevant, because I dang know they're having Cup events that are going on. When was the last time we had an MLF guy like on here to talk MLF tournaments? Nothing. I mean,
because
dude,
there hasn't been anything going on.
That's what I'm saying. It would be interesting to see if the secrecy, if what they're gaining by airing it months and months later, is actually gaining them ad dollars, revenue, interest, and generating that, or if that would all still be there and they could get a little bang for the buck while it's going on right now.
Dead on.
And I don't know. I mean, it could be. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe there are tens of thousands of people who don't want to know, who are waiting, for that next year.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just know as a fan, for me, I watch the Bassmaster recaps and all that comes out just like, and I know, I mean, I literally was like there for all of them. Like I covered the winner, but I still watch it.
But remember, they're not doing television shows for these last two events.
I know, but I'm just recapping on what it is, to where you have an event, you cover it, you know what it is, and you're still there Sunday morning watching it, DVRing it in the 45 minutes.
Yeah. Do you agree, though, that 2021, it will be interesting to see if they do anything with those Cup events?
Yeah.
Will they develop some type of revenue ad plan to where they can actually generate more revenue, but still keep intact that television product that they're relying on revenue on? So that's one of the challenges.
And I'm not a
obviously
marketing major, and I don't know. I mean, there's probably, I guarantee you, there's people at both Bass and MLF that are watching this show go, that's just so, no, that's not exact. You know what I'm saying? Yelling at the computer screen, go, that's not how we do it, or that is how we do it. But as a general overview, I think that was fairly educational.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew
and
his
valid.
stuff. Oh,
and
yeah,
valid.
100% valid.
Yeah.
He knew his stuff.
Yeah. So several fans have been asking for that. I know I was intrigued by the whole press releases that came out from both organizations, and I think we show validity in both sides based upon what he said, and he's the expert, folks, not me. All right. I want to thank Ralph Young. Dude, we got to do that more often. And here's what I'm going to throw out. If anybody out there, especially with this new software that we have, if anybody's going to be on the water and you have a good cell signal with this new software that we have, you saw the quality of the video. We're going to be able to do this with other BTL fans throughout the week. All right, throughout the shows, if there's events taking place and you want to take part just like Ralph did, Ralph just sent me an email, said, hey, man, I'd love to come on the show, do a live update from the water. Hey, folks, if you want to do that, jump in. All you got to do is send me an email, mark@basszone.com. We will hook you up and get you dialed into the software that we're using. And the fans love that, man. They really appreciated what Ralph brought. So many thanks to Ralph for reaching out and doing that. Secondly, I want to thank John Kelbe for coming on, the television executive. Great stuff, and hopefully the fans got a lot of information on this whole ratings thing, and hopefully the education and the information that he passed along to the fans was good stuff, and hopefully people enjoyed that. All right, next week, I am working, Matthew, on something that we have discussed in previous shows. I'm working on getting one of the recent BFL winners to see if they are willing to come on the show and give up the juice.
Okay.
All right. The fans want to hear from the, what did we classify them as?
Non-touring anglers.
Non-touring anglers. All right. That are really good, sticks in their area. I am working on getting one of those guys on the show next week. Now, the other thing is, folks, hold on, because I have not received confirmation back from Bass yet. I'm waiting to hear from Jim Sexton. I am not sure as of right now whether or not we have been approved to do another watch party with the Elite Series taking place at Lake Guntersville. If that's the case, if we get approval, we will have Mark Menendez on. We will have a special show next week on Thursday, and we will have the BTL watch party. Hopefully we will get approval from Bass to do that. Just check out the website, and we will update and keep you posted on what's going on next week. All right, finally, the auction, folks. The Hall of Fame auction, it goes through tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central. Is that correct, Matthew?
I don't know. I know it goes through tomorrow. They keep adding stuff to it. Like they just added a Strike King lure packs on there. $25, $35.
Cool.
There's Lou's rods and reels, $600 value. It's only at $330. $500 at $285. Zona signed jerseys. I really like those Bass Cat bar stool seats. I really think we need those in the studio. Tons of rods, reels, autographed Bill Dance fat-free shads, autographed KVD stuff, trips, jerseys, birdhouses that look like bass. David Fritz signed crankbaits.
Good stuff, folks. So check it out. Just you can do a Google search for Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. Click on the link right there. It'll take you right to it. Then click on the auction little icon thing that
Bradley Hallman's fishing trip in Oklahoma. It's up to $720.
Nice.
Seth Fighter, $1,740.
That would be a fun trip. Fun trip. All right, folks, everybody be safe over the weekend. Don't forget, if you have not subscribed to us on YouTube, please do that. You'll get notifications when we go live. It would be cool if we could get to 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
we're almost
we
to
would
8,000.
have if you hadn't had a
I know, we only been doing it for a year.
YouTube page for more than a year and a half.
That's all on me, man. I'm taking the blame for that. I have no problem admitting that I was the reason that we're not there yet. So hopefully we will continue to grow.
Same reason we used a Firewire cable till 2015.
Yeah. And then let's see here. Make sure, folks, we greatly appreciate if you do a review for us. If you're downloading the podcast on iTunes, please leave us a rating and leave a review. It helps us out immensely. Dude, I haven't told you. I'm going to wrap it up right here. I'm back on the PBA 50 Regional this weekend. Waxahachie, Texas. We'll see what happens.
I'm headed to the Bass Nation State Team Qualifier on Lake Texoma. We'll see what happens.
I'm going to wax them in Waxahachie. All right, man. Good luck to you.
Good luck to you too, Mark.
All right, man. Everybody out there, be safe. We will talk to you on Monday. That's it. We're out of here.